From Royal Communications Incorporated, good afternoon and welcome to King's News Broom 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Today is Tuesday, September 23rd, 2025, and I'm Shemo Dio presenting. In the headlines, former President George Weah returns to Liberia, describes as deeply troubling huge armed police presence and reported beating and tear gassing of his supporters at Roberts International Airport. Criminal could be sentences Bill Jalal to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend Princess Wise in 2024, says Jalal's actions show clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. And also in the news, National Trial Judges Association of Liberia takes exception to President Joseph Boakai 52 magistrate appointments. NTJL President George Messi Semen says the new appointments contradict previous appointments of 6 individuals as statutory and associate magistrates. Away from home, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have announced they will immediately withdraw from the International Criminal Court, labeling it as instrument of neo-colonialist repression. Malawi's former President Peter Mutharika has taken a comfortable lead in the country's presidential race, with two-thirds of districts having reported provisional results. This was a news bulletin. Voices of those making the news at our package. We'll take a short break to be right back. Welcome back. At this juncture, we join Sam Andrews with the news bulletin.
Former Liberian President George Weah has arrived in Monrovia following weeks of international engagements abroad. Mr. Weah returned on Monday, sparked widespread anticipation among supporters, sympathizers, and well-wishers of his party, the Coalition for Democratic Change, as dozens of supporters and political officials were seen gathered at the Roberts International Airport to receive the former president. Prior to his arrival, CDC partisans were mobilized across Montserrado County and surrounding areas. Supporters of the former president were seen carrying the party's flags, banners, and T-shirts bearing his image were visibly throughout Monrovia early Monday morning, signaling strong support and a high turnout for the former president's anticipated homecoming. CDC National Acting Chairman Janga Cole told Kings FM that former President George Weah returning to the country will be used to break grounds for the party new headquarters and other cardinal issues. Mr. Weah, who peacefully handed over power to President Joseph Boakai in January 2024 after serving one term, maintaining, has been keeping a low profile since leaving office. He is still considered one of the most influential political figures in Liberia and a possible alternative for the 2029 presidential and general elections. Former President George Weah return considered an opportunity to re-engage with national affairs, address internal tension within the CDC, and possibly reassert his leadership within the party. Meanwhile, in a brief address to his supporters, former President George Weah expressed disappointment in the government's response to his return. Mr. Weah described as deeply troubling, to see the airport surrounded by heavily armed police and beating of peaceful citizens who turned out to welcome him. He used the occasion to send a clear political message to hundreds of supporters, assuring his comeback in the 2029 elections. According to him, his return to the country is intended to build a strong party headquarters in the coming months and initiate other key issues. He called on partisans to remain peaceful as they fight for a comeback in 2029. The former Liberian leader returned to the country was given a rising welcome from thousands of supporters, but under a heavy police presence that sparked criticisms and raised political tension. What was expected to be a routine homecoming turns as armed police officers were heavily deployed across the airport. Criminal Court B has sentenced defendant Big Jala to life imprisonment following a guilty plea against him for murdering his girlfriend Princess Wisa in 2024. The court found Jala carried multiple times, leading to her death. Mr. Jala's life sentence was read on Monday by Judge Wise Ewise. Court records have indicated that the defendant concealed a deadly weapon under his sleeves, ambushed the victim, and inflicted fatal wounds, while she lay helpless. In the judgment, the court noted that Bill Jala's actions show a clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. Bill Jala stabbed Princess 7 times with a silver knife at First Nico Entertainment Center adjacent Fun Factory on Dubot Road in Painesville. The president of the National Trial Judges of Liberia has taken serious exception to President Joseph Boakar's appointment of 52 magistrates, including Councillor Josephine Ketter, Anthony at-Law James Ma, and Anthony at-Law Teresa Passaway. Judge Nessie Samin, president of the association, according to our judicial correspondent, argued that President Boakar's appointment of new magistrate runs contrary to his previous appointment of 6 individuals as staffing direct and associate magistrate on December 20, 2024, with a 4-year tenure consistent with Chapter 7, Section 7.5 of the Judiciary Law. As a result of the provision, the president of the National Association of Trial Judges of Liberia is seeking an intervention from the judiciary. Her plea was contained in a communication addressed to the court administration of the Supreme Court, Councillor William Colley. President Joseph Boakar said his administration is determined to invest 8.3 billion United States dollars to transform Liberians, including promoting gender equity and youth empowerment over the next 5 years. Speaking Monday at programs marking United Nations 30th anniversary of the 4th World Conference on Women, Boakar noted that his government will permanently ban what he called harmful cultural practices, including female genital mutilation. According to him, what was a 3-year moratorium will now be national law supported by national dialogue and initiate an implementation of a national action plan for women and girls that will eradicate gender-based violence. He noted that women empowerment is a pillar of nation building, adding that his government is committed and prepared to empower Liberian women. President Boakar added that as Liberia embarks on its 2-year term at the United Nations Security Council, the government will ensure that women and youth peace initiatives are shaped. The Minister of Finance and Development Planning, Augustine Gafan, Monday welcomed a visiting delegation from the United States Millennium Challenge Corporation. The visit is seen as a significant step towards strengthening Liberia's eligibility for a second MCC compact, following the successful completion of the first compact in 2021. Speaking during the meeting, Minister Gaffwan reaffirmed the government's commitment to transparency, accountability, and sustainable development. He noted that Liberia is encouraged by the continued engagement with the Millennium Challenge Corporation, which, according to him, has played a pivotal role in Liberia's infrastructure and institutional development. The MCC delegation, led by Madam Corinne Mohan, Managing Director for African Affairs for Compact Operations, expressed appreciation for Liberia's renewed effort to meet the MCC stringent eligibility criteria, including control of corruption, sound economic policies, and investments in people. The opposition Alternative National Congress leader has called on the government to treat Liberia's ongoing drug epidemic with urgency, declaring it a national crisis. Speaking Monday in Patrick community during a visit to the rehabilitation center, Alexander Cummins challenged government to pay attention to the increased drug use. Mr. Cummins acknowledged the multiple loss of lives as a result of illegal drugs. He emphasized the severity of the crisis and the urgent need for the government to take leadership in combating it. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has arrested 2 men and seized a compressed 1,929 kilograms marijuana in Montserrado County. LDEA officer in charge Fitzgerald Biago described the operation as a major victory against drug trafficking, adding that it is a clear message to the people who are engaged in the illegal trade in Liberia. Addressing a press conference in Monrovia Monday, Fitzgerald Biago identified the 2 suspects as Omar Mohammed, 38, Nigerian, well known as Dangote, among the drug cartel in the West African region, and Abdullahi Kamara, aged 18, a Sierra Leonean. The LDEA officer in charge also confirmed that all LDEA officers assigned at the Roberts International Airport in Haber Magibi County have been withdrawn, noting that 2 of them are undergoing investigation for underreporting the quantity of narcotics confiscated during the recent airport siege. According to him, 6 LDA officers were tested positive of illicit drugs, and 5 of those who were volunteers have been discharged from all the services of LDEA. In a landmark move for personal regulation in Liberia, the Engineering Society of Liberia has officially launched its licensing and accreditation program. The event, held at Monrovia City Hall, brought together engineers, policymakers, students, among others, to witness the formal induction of ESL Licensing Board and the issuance of license to the country's first batch of certified engineers. Speaking during the program, William Yensu, who served as the keynote speaker, described the event as a milestone victory for public safety, national development, and professional ethics. He acknowledged that the eventual passage of the Engineering Practice Act into law by President Weah in 2023 and now the activation of its licensing framework was a triumph of perseverance over bureaucracy. In a related development, former Minister of Public Works Ruth Coker Collins has encouraged women to take ownership of their role in the Engineering Society of Liberia and uphold professional standards. Speaking at the launch of the licensing and accreditation program, engineer Madam Coker Collins expressed pride in the engineering sector of Liberia. The former Public Works Minister urged women in the engineering sector to work hard in earning and own their license through competence, intelligence, and integrity. Also speaking at the program on behalf of President Joseph Boakai, Deputy Minister with our portfolio, Mama Kability, said Liberia is struggling in terms of maintaining its infrastructure. The National Timber, Wood Construction and Allied Workers Union of Liberia has rejected the decision by the Ministry of Finance and Development Planning to pay the debt logging companies or its members through mobile money numbers. Recently, the government, through the Minister of Economic Affairs at the ministry, announced that the money totaling 7 million United States dollars will be paid through mobile money of each of the timber works after a vetting process. And a pro-youth organization, Youth Movement for Academic Excellence, in partnership with Sunnywan Community Leadership, has organized an academic tournament aimed at strengthening young people through education. The event, held on Johnson Street, brought together students and parents to celebrate and encourage young people to prioritize education in their youthful years. Speaking in an interview with Kings FM Monday, the founder of the Youth Movement for Academic Excellence, Tom Dober, described Sunnywan community as a well-known area for disadvantaged youth who are often burdened with negative perception. Mr. Dober stressed the need for a holistic approach to teamwork and community initiative to restore Sunnywan's good record. Also speaking, residents of the community expressed excitement for the activities, described it as a historic event to empower school-going children.
Same and just with the news bulletin. The news bulletin is a regular feature on King's Newsroom. A reminder you're listening to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Stories will follow in this afternoon. Former President George Weah returns to Liberia, described as deeply troubling huge armed police presence and reported beating and tear gassing of his supporters at Roberts International Airport. Criminal could be Senators Bill Jala to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend Princess Wise in 2024. Says Jala's action show clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. National Trial Judges Association its appointments. NTJAL President George Nestor Semen says the new appointments contradicted previous appointments of 6 individuals as statutory and associate magistrates, away from whom Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have announced they will immediately withdraw from the International Criminal Court, letting it an instrument of neo-colonialist repression. We'll take a break to be back with voices of the newsmakers. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Former President George Weah has arrived in Monrovia following weeks of international engagement abroad. Weah returned to Liberia Monday's packed widespread anticipation among supporters, sympathizers, and well-wishers of his party. The Coalition for Democratic Change had dozens of supporters and party officials were seen gathered at the Roberts International Airport to receive the former president. CDC National Acting Chairman Janka told Kings FM that the former president return to the country will be used to break grounds for the party new headquarters construction and other cardinal activities. Chairman Cole, are there special activities expected to be undertaken upon the arrival of the former president at the level of the party?
Basically, like we said, this is just to give the president a tumultuous welcome back home. After being out, he has been out engaging strategic consultation with regional and continental leaders. And based on the work he has done, whenever the president is out of the country, he is engaged and trying to work for the people of Liberia, even though he's a former president, because he loves the people. He doesn't have to be president to do good for the Liberian people. Liberian people can be assured that the president, even while he's in retirement from the presidency, he is constructively engage with regional, international stakeholders to ensure that by the time he comes to power, a lot of good things will have been lined up for the benefit of the Liberian people, because he feels the suffering since he left office. He see how the suffering of the people have increased. All of the benefits that he was providing, most of the benefits have been cut off. People have been dismissed. Motorcyclists have been harassed. Their motorcycles have been illegally arrested from them. And we want to say, exhibit peace, continue to exercise your right to free speech, continue to exercise the right to free assembly. And as we are going to be at the airport today, and we're going to be to make sure we welcome our leader in tumultuous faction.
As the chairman of the party, can we say the groundbreaking ceremony of the new headquarters construction is coming up in no time upon the arrival of the former president?
Definitely. Once the president arrives, like we have assured the Liberian people and citizens, we will be announcing the date for the groundbreaking ceremony of the construction of the brand new headquarters of the CDC that is even going to surpass our previous headquarters. So if the government meant the destruction and demolition of our headquarters for evil, and we're going to turn that setback into a great comeback, and the people are standing with the CDC. Even people who are not citizens are standing with the CDC and pledging their contribution towards the construction of a brand new headquarters for the CDC. Because in the minds of many of these people, the destruction of the CDC headquarters was not an attack only on the CDC, but was an attack on the peace and civility of the country. It was an attack on the democratic credential of the country, was an attack on the democratic gains that this country has made in the last 20 years. And they see that it is wrong, and that's why they are standing with the CDC in making sure that the CDC headquarters is reconstructed.
Meanwhile, in a brief address to his supporters, former President George Weah expressed disappointment in the government's response to his return.
Make sure that CDC get our headquarters back. So we don't need to fight. We don't need to fight. Move forward. All of our friends and citizens, what happened to us, don't worry. George Weah is here. We're going to restore, we will rebuild our party headquarters. And that's our goal, our mission. Our mission is not to come and black airport and police fighting. No, leave them alone. Leave them alone. We came to create a party for our people. We were able to do that. And we are still able to sustain the political fight. So don't worry. I'm back home. We're going to build our party in a record time, and we'll be okay. Yes, it's my country. I was born right in this beautiful country, and I'm back home. It's always a pleasure to be back home, but no one chasing you. I'm a free man, leader of a political party, this party, and I'm back home. I'm proud to be back home, to be with my people. We got a lot of things to do.
Former President George Weah, you heard the voice of CDC National Acting Chairman Anthony Law Jakako. President Joseph Boakai says the administration is determined to invest $8.3 billion United dollars to transform Liberians' lives, including promoting gender equality and youth empowerment over the next 5 years. Speaking Monday at programs marking United Nations 30th anniversary of the Fourth World Conference on Women, Boakai noted that his government will permanently ban what he called harmful cultural practices, including female genital mutilation.
Today, as we gather under the theme of recommitting, resourcing, and accelerating the implementation of the Beijing Declaration and Platform for Action, Liberia sees this anniversary not as a ceremonial occasion, but as an urgent call for action. Under my leadership, Liberia is determined to move from pledges to results. We are proud to stand among the first member state leading on the two important action agendas, ending violence against women, girls, and investing in young people, girls, and future generations. Through our agenda for inclusive development, Liberia will invest $8.3 billion over 5 years to transform lives with gender equality, youth empowerment, education, healthcare, and social development at all levels. Our commitments are clear. We pledge zero tolerance for gender-based violence with massive awareness and public education program with dedicated budget allocation. We will permanently ban harmful cultural practices. What was once a 3-year moratorium will now become a national law supported by national dialogue and alternative livelihood program. We will implement a national action plan for women and girls to provide a roadmap for empowerment, voice, and protection. And African proverbs reminds us, when spider webs unite, they can tie a lion. Similarly, when women are fully empowered and supported, entire nations thrive. As Liberia embarks on 2-year term on the United Nations Security Council, we will ensure that the voices of women and youth are not only heard, but also shape the women and youth peace and security. Our programs are already changing lives. The Liberian Women Empowerment Project, reaching 36,000 business women across country, impacting more than 260,000 Liberian lives through increased income, resilience, and growth. The Realist Project support 53,600.
President Joseph Boakai, they're speaking. Finance Minister Augustin Gaffar Monday welcomed a visiting delegation from the United Nations, that's the United States Millennium Challenge Corporation. The visit is seen as a significant step towards strengthening Liberia's eligibility for a second MCC compact following the successful completion of the first compact in 2021. Speaking during the meeting, Minister Gaffar reaffirmed the Liberian government's commitment to transparency, accountability, and sustainable development.
Thank you, Kari and team. I know that there's the Broom Sept that's coming, and over the week or so, others will come. On behalf of our President, His Excellency Joseph Joma Boakai, Vice President Honorable Jeremiah Kwanku, government, and the people of Liberia, and I stress the people of Liberia, who are the direct benefit MCC support. We want to welcome you wholeheartedly to Liberia, and if it's your first time, many things to see in Liberia. We are very elated that you could come. We know that the journey is still ways to go, but from where we were, where we are, we appreciate the support you've given us thus far. Come to engage us in government. You come to engage Liberian stakeholders, not in government. You've come to engage even private stakeholders, people in the diplomatic corps. Over this period of engagement where we try to, working with you, conclude something of constraints and growth analysis to identify sectors for possible support. You can rest assured of the ministry's fullest cooperation. We try to, as much as possible, backstop the mission. Just this morning, I was the charge d'affaires of the U.S. Embassy and the new Economic Council. They were in my office. All of us are talking about your coming, and the embassy has been very supportive.
The MCC delegation led by Madame Kari Mohan, Managing Director for African Affairs for Compact Operations, expressed appreciation for Liberia's renewed efforts to meet the MCC's stringent eligibility criteria, including control of corruption, sound economic policies, and investment in people.
Yes, so Mr. Minister, I would like to thank you and your whole team for the extremely warm welcome. We are really thrilled to be here. I had the honor to work briefly on the first compact for Liberia, and I traveled here in 2013, but it's been a very long time. So I'm really happy to be back. And at MCC, we're extremely proud of the partnership that we developed through the first MCC Compact. We see it as a huge success, and we recognize the government of Liberia and the people of Liberia as extremely strong partners. So we're really happy to be back here again to prepare for our board meeting in December as MCC's board of directors considers Liberia for another compact. I wanted to say we will be here to be focusing, first of all, on the constraints to economic growth analysis, which is similar to what we did during the first compact.
A reminder, you're listening to King's Newsroom, 45 minutes news about Liberia, Africa, and our one world. Stories we follow in this afternoon. Former President George Weah returns to Liberia. This trials as deeply troubling huge armed police presence and reported beating and tear gassing of his supporters at Roberts International Airport. Criminal Court B sentences Bill Jala to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend Princess Wise in 2024, says Jala's actions showed clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. National Trial Judges Association of Liberia takes exception to President Joseph Boakai 52 magistrates appointments. NTJAL President George Nesse Samen says the new appointments contradict previous appointments of 6 individuals as Tapindary and associate magistrates. Away from home, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have announced they will immediately withdraw from the International Criminal Code, between it as instrument of neo-colonialist repression. Malawi's former president Peter Mutharika has taken a comfortable lead in the country's presidential race, with 2/3 of districts having reported provisional results. We'll take a break to be back with more voices. Welcome back and thanks for being there. Opposition Alternative National Congress political leader has called on the government of Liberia to treat ongoing drug epidemic with urgency by declaring it as a national crisis. Speaking Monday in the Battery Factory community during his visit at a rehabilitation center, the designer comments challenged the government to pay attention to the wave of increased drug abuse. Comments acknowledged the multiple loss of lives as a result of illegal drugs.
One is to call attention of the Liberian government to this crisis. As I said, everything I do, I say people put a political lens on it, and that's okay. But we have a national emergency, a national crisis, and we are not treating it that way. As a private citizen, a private institution, we will try to help in our own small way, but it will take the government to lead this effort, to treat the effort for the emergency that it is. It is only the government of Liberia that can stop the drugs from coming to our country. No private citizen can do that. Only the government can do that. The government is the only one that can go after the hidden hands, the big fish who are benefiting from this poison that's coming to our country. They're the only one that can put the resources at the border to stop the drugs, to work with the neighboring governments. They are the only people that can do that. On the other side, the rehabilitation, citizens can help, like Pastor Jerry is doing with the Discovery program here. And as I say, in our small way, will help as well. But again, the government has to take the lead in this effort. Otherwise, we'll lose, and we are losing a whole generation of young people, which we cannot afford to do. So that's why we're calling the attention of the Liberian people, of our government. As I said in there, we are paying the ministers. They get paid every month. The president, the vice president, legislature, they get paid every month. It is their job to address the challenges facing Liberian people. They're not doing us a favor. They get paid for what they do. They were elected to do it. They control the resources of the country, and they need to prioritize it in the right way to look after the young people of Liberia.
My name is Jonathan Doyle.
Alternative National Congress political leader Edizana Benedict comments. The Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency has arrested 2 men and seized a compressed 1,929 kilograms marijuana valued $27,850,760 Liberian dollars. In District 17, Monserrado County, LVEA officer in charge Fitzgerald Biago described the operation as a major victory against drug trafficking, adding that it is a clear message to people who are engaged in illegal trade in Liberia.
I am pleased to report a significant milestone in our ongoing war against drugs, illicit substances, and trafficking and distribution of narcotics across our country. On September 18, 2025, following careful coordinated intelligence, the LDA confiscated 1,929 kilograms of compressed marijuana in the District 17, Broom Sept, Monserrado County. This seizure has an estimated street value of $27,850,760 Liberian dollars, an equivalent of approximately $146,604 United States dollars. This operation marked a major victory in our fight against drug trafficking, and it is a clear message to all who engage in this illegal trade. Liberia will no longer be a safe haven for drug traffickers. We also confirmed the arrest of 2 suspects during the operation. Mr. Oman Mohammed, 38 years, a Nigerian national, currently known in the sub-region as Dangote, a major drug trafficker within the West African sub-region, and Mr. Abdullah Kamara, 18 years old. Both suspects are currently in the LDA custody and undergoing thorough investigation. Upon conclusion, they will be appropriately charged and follow the code for prosecution in accordance with the laws of the Republic of Liberia.
The LDA chief, that's officer in charge, also confirmed that all LDA officers assigned been withdrawn, noting that 2 of them are undergoing investigation for underreporting the quantity of narcotics confiscated during the recent airport seizure.
As part of our reform effort, we have withdrawn all LDA personnel assigned to the Rabat International Airport due to concern of misconduct. Out of 8 officers recalled, 2 are currently under investigation for underreporting the quantity of narcotics confiscated during the recent airport seizure. The LDA will not tolerate any act of corruption, negligence, or action that undermines the integrity of the lower institution. We have continued to implement mandatory drug testing policy for all LDA officers. I am pleased to report that the testing process for LDA headquarters in Monrovia and Broom County have been completed. However, it is with disappointment that we inform the public that 6 officers, 1 employee, and 5 volunteers were tested positive of the illicit drug abuse. Volunteers include Lao Yake, C. Tony Garnett, Newman Moni, Lawrence J. Feju, Milton Bray, all volunteers. I hereby will immediately effect discharge from all activities of the LDA. Officers Roosevelt T. Colley with specific number M-43SEC-3 is hereby suspended time indefinite and 10 other professional standards for processing. This is just the beginning. We are committed to purging the agency for any elements that compromise the credibility of this mission.
Liberia Drug Enforcement Agency officer in charge Fitzgerald Biago there speaking during a press conference on Monday. In a landmark move for professional regulation in Liberia, the Engineering Society of Liberia has officially launched its licensing and accreditation program. The event, held at the Monrovia City Hall, brought together engineers, policy makers, students, among many others, to witness the formal induction of the ESL Licensing Board and the issuance of licenses to the country's first batch of certified engineers. Speaking during the program, Williams Yanuam, who served as keynote speaker, described the event as a milestone victory for public safety, national development, and professional ethics.
Let me begin these brief remarks by thanking you, Mr. President, and members of the planning committee for this program for inviting me to share in this celebration of this significant milestone in the long history of the Engineering Society of Liberia. I am told and I heard since I've been here in the hall, seen in the program, that today you are launching licensing and accreditation program for the practice of engineering in Liberia, and that you will officially install members of your board of accreditation and licensing, and you will be licensing your first batch of engineers that the board have vetted and have certified. I say a happy congratulations for this significant milestone. As many of you are no doubt aware, what you are celebrating today has been a long-held dream of so many before you.
For his part, the president of the Engineering Society of Liberia, Engineer David Wanu, Lord, the former President George, we are in the 54th legislature for signing into handbill an act establishing the Engineering Society of Liberia as a legal institution.
Historic, the swearing in of Liberia's first board of accreditation under the Engineering Society of Liberia. Just about 2 years ago, on September 4th, 2023, the President of the Republic of Liberia signed, and the act establishing the Engineering Society of Liberia was published into handbill, establishing the Engineering Society of Liberia by law. So though we started the fight in 1968, we finally became established by law just 2 years ago. Today, the vision of Liberian engineers becomes a reality. The Board of Accreditation is not merely an administrative. It is the cornerstone of accountability, excellence, and national development. By accrediting programs, vetting qualifications, upholding ethics, it will ensure that Liberia's growth rests on competence, innovation, and integrity.
At the same time, former Minister of Public Works Ruth Coker Collins has encouraged women to take ownership of their roles in the Engineering Society of Liberia and uphold professional standards.
I just want to add a few things before I actually award the certificate. I want to use this medium to say we are happy as women in engineering. Today, lesson brought so much joy to my heart that women will be judged, by the competence. If you have these lessons, you will not be, there will be no bias, stereotype. We all with professional earn own this lesson. So I want to say a big thank you to the leadership in the board for this lesson purpose. We had the opportunity to come here. I just want to use this time to say congratulations to us. We are happy. We have labored for, they have come to pass today. So congratulations to be the one to certificate ourselves.
Former Public Works Minister Ruth Coker Collins, away from home, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Nigeria. Code, labeling it as an instrument of neocolonialist repression. The three military-led countries issued a joint statement saying they would not recognize the authority of the UN-backed court based in The Hague. The RCC has proven itself incapable of handling and prosecuting proven war crimes, crimes against humanity, crimes of genocide, and crimes of aggression, the three leaders said. The court has not yet responded to the decision by the three countries, out of which, with close ties to Russia, whose leader Vladimir Putin has been subject to an RCC arrest warrant. And Malawi's former president Peter Mutharika has taken the comfortable lead in the country's presidential race, with 2/3 of districts having reported provisional results. The 85-year-old has received around 66% of the valid votes counted so far, with his closest rival, the incumbent 70, trailing on around 24%. Results declared so far indicate that Mutharika has won in areas known as strongholds, including the capital. We are on that note, that's how we come to the end of this edition of King's Newsroom. But before we leave, a quick reminder of stories we followed in the headlines. Former President George Weah returns to Liberia, describes deeply troubling huge armed police presence and reported beating and tear gassing of the supporters at Rabat International Airport. Criminal could be sentences Bill Jala to life imprisonment for murdering his girlfriend Princess Wise in 2024, says Jala's actions showed clear evidence of malice, premeditation, and an intent to kill. He also heard in the news National Trial Judges Association of Liberia takes exception to President Joseph Boakai 52 magistrates appointments. NTJAL President George Nesse Samin says the new appointments contradict previous appointments of 6 individuals as statutory and associate magistrates. Away from home, Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger have announced they will immediately withdraw from the International Criminal Code, making it an instrument of neo-colonialist repression. Malawi's former President Peter Mutharika has taken a comfortable lead in the country's presidential race, with 2/3 of districts having reported provisional results. Many thanks to our reporters, correspondents, and all those who have been making this edition of King's Newsroom the success. Sam Andrews at our control and handle the technical aspect. At the same time, brought you the news bulletin. On behalf of the team, I'm Shemadale. I presented. Thanks for listening and watching.